this is Julie from Considerate Joy Homestead. I'm working a split shift today, so my day's kind of chaotic and can't really get out and do a whole lot, but I thought I would take the time to show you some of the stuff that we're doing on the days where we can't get out to the homestead. I don't know about where you live, but here in Kentucky we have the cash express places that are always peddling their cups outside of their stores, and anytime you go to any events they'll give you a sleeve of them, like parades and things like that. So I always take them and use them for my little starter cups, and then I take any kind of pot or resource I can find to start putting things in until we can get them into the garden. Here I've got some marigolds, and these I just passed. Those are Black Beauty zucchini. Over there on the floor I've got some tomatoes that I was hardening off, so I still have them in a tote so that I could take them inside when the weather's bad. Over here I have some things that I just planted after the seed swap with the Stivers about a week and a half ago. And I've got some miscellaneous stuff in here that was hardening off as well. I've got some tomatoes and some more zucchini, a bunch of trees. These trees came in bare root. They were supposed to be in the week prior to when they came. So of course when they came, it was not very good for us to get out to the homestead to plant. So I went ahead and started planting most of them in 2 pots so that I could just take them out there, and hopefully they'll have a good shot at living. Back here in the back I've got potatoes, some baby greens, we've got a lot of peppers back here, some basil, beans down here. I need to get them in the ground fairly quickly, so that'll be a project for this weekend. And some other miscellaneous stuff over here. And I've got some peanuts and some more beans, and there's winter squash and watermelon and bees. You can see a wasp and a bee over there. They're about to tangle. And that's pretty much the stuff that I've been working on here. I have a few more in the house that I need to bring out, so I'll be working on that too. Hello y'all. I decided that since I have to go back to work later, I'm going to just plant a couple of seeds. I went inside and changed my clothes, but here at our house that we're currently living in, we've got a flower bed that needs a little TLC, so I thought I would show you what I'm going to plant in there. So I got these seeds at the Stivers Homestead seed swap in Frankfort a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure if I'm too late to plant these, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. I'm going to go ahead with the Aster Belstead Supremes. These elephant heads are kind of interesting. The Maltese Cross, and then I'm going to plant purple, red, and yellow coneflower echinacea. So this is the flower bed that I was referring to. We've got a lot of raspberries that have overtaken this area, and I really need to clip them back. Somewhere in there was some blueberries, and last year they were kind of poking up between the raspberries, and I'm not even sure if it's still alive down there. But these raspberries were here when we bought this house, and have kind of been overtaking the place. Got a lot of weeds and things I need to pull down here. And one of the things I did plant in here 6 or 7 years ago was a cluster of hostas, this big one in the corner. Here I planted, and these 2 clusters here volunteered to move in. So we've got a lot of weeds and things that need to come out. I did have at one point some other flowers in here that are no longer here, so I'm gonna yank all the garbage out likely tomorrow, and I'm gonna go ahead and plant those seeds, those flower seeds that I got from the swap, into cups for now and see how they do, see if they germinate, and then tomorrow work on the ugly flower bed.
Hey, this is Lundie from Consider It Joy Homestead, trying to give you another update as far as what we're doing, what have you. I'm coming to you from my beautiful hotel room in north of Cincinnati. Unfortunately, because we're building our homestead, we can't stay there. So, so a lot of our videos, unfortunately, until we get out there, are going to be either from our home where we live, or unfortunately, as I work, I'm away. So, anyways, I just want to give you an update on a little more information as to what we're trying to do with a little detail. I've always wanted to have a project to where I can do all the things that I've learned over the years, and this is like the perfect thing for me, since we're building from scratch. And I plan on doing a lot of different systems, a lot of things that some people never even heard of, even experienced people. So that's what I'm going to go over tonight. Basically, of course, going to do solar panels and all that good stuff, but I'm doing actually a trifecta of things when it comes to energy. Yeah, we're going to do a solar panel system and all that good stuff. But I'm not doing the traditional, hey, I'm putting it on the roof. And actually, we designed our place originally to have the perfect tilt. And it was going to be a single tilt roof. And, half of the second floor wasn't going to be usable because of it. But I decided not to do that because I've learned since our first, designs that you can actually gain a lot if you're not using a stationary solar panel. You can gain up to 30% power because what happens is, a lot of people don't realize this. Yeah, it's glass, it's on top of those things. Glass reflects. If it's not the right angle, half your energy is reflected right off of that thing. So a lot of people don't get that. So I'm actually going to build a do-it-yourself tracking system and actually put my panels out on poles and track that sun going across the sky, so that angle is always perfect. So that's one thing we're going through. I'm going to do about a 2 kilowatt system to start with, because I have some other things I'm throwing in there to generate power and electricity. Of course, we're doing everything to where minimal power, all the things that you have to do to try to save energy, so you don't have to produce it and put the money out to actually be able to have to produce it. So, yeah, about a 2 kilowatt goal. Gonna probably do our house both DC power and AC power for the appliances that have to have AC. That's because of the fact that you lose power changing it from DC to AC. Most inverters that you buy never hit 90% efficiency, so you're losing 10% just making it from the batteries to your outlet. So that's the goal. And a lot of things, you can actually, a lot of the LED lights, they work fine off of DC if you know what you're doing. So but along with doing solar power, I'm going to be doing, I already have a wind turbine up there, and basically I think Zach and Jennifer were mentioning something about trying to do some wind turbine maybe next year and stuff, and I'd love to help people, so I'd love to help them out with that. But right now I have a 1700 watt 5-blade system, and the reason I used 5-blade systems, it's in how you design it and your wind conditions. The more blades you have, the easier it is to turn, but the slower it'll turn. So the slower it turns, the less power you generate. So it's a give and a take. Um, you can have only 3 blade systems. Yeah, they'll rock it when you got great wind all the time. Got a way, the mast is way up high, but it takes a lot of wind to turn it. So I kind of went in between, and so far we've had it up there a couple years now, and it always keeps our batteries charged. Only have a couple hundred amp hour batteries up there because we're just using it for odds and ends, charging batteries and stuff like that. So I actually do have a better inverter on the way. Hopefully it'll equal out to about what a normal circuit would be in a house, so it can actually run our plug-in saws instead of everything being cordless. But we only have one right now. Plan on adding a few more. And the idea behind it is this: when it's sunny, solar's great. When it's not sunny, it's storming. If it's storming, it's windy. So, but a third system I'm going to do. A lot of people have a lot of ideas on this thing. It's what they call thermal. It's not geothermal. I have that too. I'll go over that in a minute. But it's thermal system. Now, thermal system actually uses what they call solar troughs. That's one way to do it. That's what I'm going to be doing, using solar troughs, and they basically reflect into what they call evacuated tubes. They heat a medium, and what I'm going to be doing is what they call a thermal mass. And basically, it'll heat this medium. It's probably going to be mineral oil because that's kind of the perfect thing to use for this type of thing. You heat this mass up, and they do a lot of this type of stuff out in the desert and everything like that, and more so for cooling at night, but it's interesting. But basically, you can heat this mass up, and it usually has a lot to do with anything that holds heat, ceramic type stuff, but you can encapsulate it. You heat this mass up, and it can get 300, 400, 500 degrees sometimes, and stay that way overnight. So we use this to basically keep that thermal mass heated, and it's probably going to be buried underground, or at least under the house or something like that, to where it doesn't affect the environment of the house. But you heat this thing up, and for one thing, it can heat all your water heaters. It could actually be a secondary form of heat for if you're doing hydronic floor heating, which we are. It could be another line to be able to do that. But basically, I also have this provisional patent that I want to work on once we're moved up there, and I'm tinkering around all these things, and I've had this idea for a couple of years, and it's a way to produce electricity from thermal capture. And I'm going to start experimenting with that, and in the end, it's a way to replace having to have so many batteries using solar with low maintenance, everyday things, everyday ways or everyday materials. So I mean, I can go into that a lot later, but basically I want to be able to work on that patent, and I would love to be able to, that's kind of my passion. Once I leave the job I'm at, I really want to put that in play. I'd love to work in the clean energy. Not that I'm a big tree hugger or anything, don't get me wrong. I love the environment, but this is how I think of it. God has put us on the earth as good stewards to take care of this earth. Doesn't mean no coal, doesn't mean any of that stuff. Basically, I just want to be responsible. So, I mean, I'm all about clean coal. EPA has been, jerking around coal industry for many years, and they jump through every one of their hoops, but they still come back with more. And, I'm in coal country, so I love coal. Sorry. Anybody who's offended by that, I could show you some really interesting documentation and show you how the EPA is really, it's a money game, even for them. Anyways, let's see. But I want to be able to, to actually work on this patent that I have, and finish the patent, make a prototype, be able to produce it, and distribute it to missionaries, third world countries. Um, to it's just another thing I feel called to do. Anyways, we'll go on from there. We are going to do a geothermal system for heating. Um, Plan on doing a vertical system, not a horizontal system, not a vertical system. Basically, about 6 foot under, front yard is going to be nothing but buried, basically PEX, and but we're going to feed that into the house and a heat exchanger, and basically it will be a precursor to whatever form of heating I'm going to use at the time, and be able to push in heat through a hydronic system, hydronic floor heating system that I'm going to have on both floors of our house. So that's going to be fun. Something I've always wanted to do. A lot of times, there's pros and cons to hydronic heating, and usually it has a lot to do with it takes a while for something to, or for the hydronic heating to warm up or to cool down. And I plan on doing some custom things with some logic boards, and pre-programming some metadata from the National Weather Service into a program that I'm going to code in and everything to anticipate the weather, so it starts changing it before it happens. So a lot of cool stuff I want to do there. Going on, I'm going to be doing rain capture and purification. I'm going to be using an elevated water tank, and a lot of people, that water tanks are so expensive. They just always, I don't know if this is plastic made of gold or whatever. These things are expensive. So what I'm going to do is actually use a steel swimming pool with a food grade vinyl liner. Then cap it, and that's going to be elevated on a platform, probably about 20 feet in the air. And that'll be for the non-necessary pressure items in the house. Basically, your kitchen sink and things of that nature. Not the shower and stuff like that. I'll have to actually have a slightly separate system to get enough pressure for a shower. So that's just the nature of the beast. To actually have the pressure necessary to, just by gravity fed, to actually properly pressure a shower, it'd have to be like 90 feet in the air at least. But I'm not doing that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna do probably about a 12 by 5 foot steel swimming pool in basically a room on a platform that's about 20 feet in the air. And it'll have a roof, and it'll be insulated and all those good things. It'll give me about 3,400 gallons of water. And I'm going to have sediment traps and a pre-tank water purification filter. And then before the water actually ever hits the tank, I'm going to use UV sterilizers to basically kill any of the germs, anything that could make anything grow in that tank. Of course, the tank's going to be capped, and it'll have traps and everything, so buggies won't be able to get in. But and then as it comes into the home, I have a high quality filtration system with things that I know is going to truly filter it out, because that's, people are, ooh, it's rainwater. You know what? My grandparents, that's all they had. I remember going to their place, man, and it was just nothing but, you had your gutters, and they had a big half barrel, and he'd sit there and get a ladle and sip right out of it. It was the best water there ever was. God filtered it. Can't get better than that. Anyways, and then for the last thing I want to talk about tonight is waste. Oh my goodness. People freak out about composting stuff. I don't know why. I mean, it's natural. But it's a give and a take. There is a way, and there are some systems out there that do a wet composting system. So basically, what is that? Wet composting system is where you actually have a toilet, it actually flushes, and it is a compost system. So once or twice a year, you go in and you remove the compost and you use it in your fields. So, anyways, usually you have to use an RV type toilet, which is a hot, like very low water usage toilet, which is good, but it's one of those things. I like a challenge, I guess. I want to use a regular toilet, and it's not that I'm prissy by any means. I'm just thinking of the family, and they're what they're used to and all those good things. But I've got a design for a better separator to separate most of the liquids out to get it down to where it thinks, or not thinks, but where it's equivalent to what a RV toilet would actually put into the composting system. So, but yeah, just empty it a couple times a year, and it's probably, you can probably plan that around all your seasons of planting and all that good stuff. But those are the systems that I plan on doing, and a little bit of detail. But I'm going to get into it a little more as I'm doing it, of course. And I've probably forgot something, but I'm me, so expect it. Anyways, I want to close out with a little bit of scripture. Wife looked this one up, and I agree. I like it. It's Colossians 3:23-24. It says, "Whatever you do, do your work heartily, as for the Lord rather than for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance. It is the Lord Christ you serve." Isn't that the truth? It's not necessarily your boss, though. You're supposed to honor them. It's not money itself, because the dollar is not almighty. The Almighty is almighty. But work, no matter what you do, work as if your foreman is Jesus Christ himself. And you honor him by honoring the people above you. So, love you guys. Thank you for all the support. We're loving doing this so far, and hopefully we're getting a little bit over our stage fright of this whole camera thing. So, but God bless. Hope to see you again soon. And if we have anything that you're interested in, please go ahead and write us. We love talking about it. We love bouncing ideas, all those good things. But oh, and I'm supposed to say what? Hit this subscribe and the little bell, right? Love you guys. God bless.